Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, forgive me. I'm pretty stuffy. I woke up this way, so yeah. I'm not sick or anything. It's just, it's when you wake up in the morning and you're kind of stuffy in the beginning of the morning, and then throughout the day it just kind of clears up. So I'm suffering from that right now, so forgive me for that. Before I jump into today's topic, I do want to just announce that the podcast 5th season is coming starting July 4th. So if you guys are following me on your favorite podcast sources, whether it be Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, season 5 episodes are going to return starting July 4th. What I plan to do on the podcast is have some guests on the podcast episodes, and so they'll be a little bit longer than 10 minutes or whatever. So the Aloha Android Daily is coming back July 4th, starting that day. So yeah, I will also be posting those podcasts to the podcast YouTube channel, which is only audio. So if you guys are subscribed to that, cool. If not, and you guys want to be subscribed to that, check it out. And yeah. All right, so let's go into the topic. The topic is an old topic, nothing really brand new, but there are people out there who still don't understand why apps just seem to run better on iOS than they do on Android. And there are two major reasons why this happens, and these two reasons have been around for the longest time, and these very same two reasons are going to continue. I don't see it changing in the future. So let's just kind of jump right into the first reason. The first reason is that on iOS, they do not suffer from the fragmentation that Android suffers from. So it's easier for companies like Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram for them to optimize and develop their app for iOS when there's really technically only one device they're really, one phone they're really optimizing for. Now, yes, people are gonna get a little smart here and be like, well, Apple puts out 2 or 3 devices a year. Yeah, but when you look at the internals, the processing chip, the amount of RAM and all that good stuff, right? It's the same. The internal storage may be different, but that's regarding internal storage, the amount of storage you have to install apps and keep photos and other files on the device natively. But yeah, the chip itself is what they're having to optimize for. And when you go to the Android side of things, there are devices that have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 series and the 700 series and the 600 series and the 400 series. And then you have devices that are running MediaTek processors. You have devices running Exynos processors, right? These are various different processing chips that can handle certain things, right? And the characteristics of each chip is not the same. So you're talking about devices that have different processing chips. You're talking about devices that are still running different versions of Android. Every Android device, whether it's Google's own Pixel devices or Samsung devices or LG devices, are all not running Android 10. There are Android devices out there that are still running 8.1.0 Oreo. There's devices that are still running 7 Nougat. So you gotta think, these companies like Facebook and Twitter, their app, generally they're gonna make it to where it can just run on any Android device. But they're not really going to go down and try to optimize it for every version of Android and every different processing chip. Whereas on the iPhone, it's so much easier. It's one processing chip that they got to, understand how it functions, how well it works, develop the app, put the update out, and make sure it's optimized for it. That's a very big thing. Easier to deal with one particular type of phone than to deal with so many. And that's why most techies out there have put it out there for people to understand that the biggest problem that Android will always suffer from is fragmentation. And that's not going to change because Android is open sourced. So any of these companies like Samsung, LG can take the source code files of Android, take it and put their own spin on it, like Samsung and its One UI that used to be known as TouchWiz in the past, and LG's UI, and every company's different skin they have on top of Android to make it look like their own. That is where we get plagued by apps running decent. I mean, come on now, they're not running super bad. It's not like it takes 5 minutes to scroll through 22 posts on Facebook in your Facebook feed. But when you compare it side by side with iOS and the functionality, you will see a major difference. And that's what that comes down to, the optimization and how well it performs. It's going to perform better on an iPhone. And I'm a Pixel guy saying this, okay? And it's not that I'm trashing Android. I'm just laying out the reality of things. Okay, so that's the first reason. The second major reason is that iPhones are popular. It does not matter if we techies can look at an iPhone and say it just recently got a feature in its newer iPhone that Android has had for 6 years. It doesn't matter. Average consumers who just don't care about the nerdy tech side of things, but just want a very good phone, most people still go after iPhones. The resale value is amazing, okay? You look at an iPhone 10 in pristine condition, and this could be a 64 gig variant, and it's going for about $450. The iPhone 10s and 10s Max is going for $600. You know, the 10R, which was probably one of their best selling iPhones in the last 4 years, that phone is still going for about $650 to $700. So the resale value of these things is there, right? They don't lose their value as fast as most Android devices will. But people are always sorting out for iPhone. Some people may have jumped to Android for a couple of years and miss iOS and want to go back to it. Some people love iMessage, which I will tell on a side note, Apple is never going to put iMessage on Android. That is one of its biggest selling points to the iPhone that everyday consumers love using, and they're not going to give that up. This is how they keep them in. Yes, the future of tech is going to be software and services. We all know that. But yeah, if you're trying to convince Apple to put iMessage on Android and you're going to hold your breath till they do, yeah, that's not a very good thing. I would say don't hold your breath. But anyways, iPhones, very popular. People go for them. So yes, you can say that these companies are a bit biased. They are going to put extra effort into an app that's going on iOS than its Android counterpart. They'll make sure that the app on Android is functional, because they're not gonna just completely trash it. But you can see that some apps in the past have really shown how biased they are about who they develop and optimize for. You'll see certain apps that have not gotten an update for like 6 months, yet you go on iOS and it's getting updated regularly, monthly. Plus, you will also see like certain features that is supposed to come to this app come to iOS first before it ever comes to the Android side. And it takes months before the Android side gets it. Yeah, these companies are a bit biased. So apps like Twitter and Periscope, they're going to run so much smoother and so much better on iOS with an iPhone than it will run on Android. But it's not to say that they don't care to make it functional for Android. They're just not going to go through the headaches and stress of dealing with Android's fragmentation. That is still key number one. So there you have it. And you know, this even applies to Google. Like, I myself will tell you guys, I use an iPhone, I use Android. I've used an iPhone XS, and I've used a 7 and a 6S Plus and a 6S and an SE, the original SE, not the new one. And I can tell you guys, even Google apps such as Hangouts looks and performs much better on iOS than it does on its home platform Android. So that speaks volumes right there. And it just functions well. I've used it and I'm like, wow, because I've been using Hangouts for years on Android, and don't get me wrong, I like it. Using it on iOS and seeing how they have it set up, the user interface, how it does not need an extra app to use the phone function like it does on Android. Like on Android, you gotta download Hangouts and then Hangouts Dialer. On iOS, it's embedded within the app itself, and I'm like, well, why can't they do that for Android? And there you go. You know, Google not trying to optimize the app for all different types of Android devices. Easier for them to just develop and make a clean UI for their iOS app. So, I mean, there you have it. That is the reason why. And again, like I said, that's likely to not ever change. The only way that's going to change is if Samsung makes their own OS and all these OEMs make their own OS and they leave Android alone and Android is strictly Pixel, then you will start seeing better optimization and better user experience on the Android side. But that's not likely to happen. open source. So anyways, guys, that's my explanation to help people understand who didn't know why apps run better on iOS than they do on Android. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of the video, and if you guys enjoyed today's video, smash that like button. That lets me know. If you disliked the video, that's fine. Leave a comment too why you disliked the video. I'd really love the feedback. And yeah, if you just found my channel and subscribe, thank you so much for doing that. And you'll never miss an episode if you just click that bell icon. That way you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Again, July 4th launches season 5 of the Aloha Android Daily podcast. Stumbled on my own words over there. Wow. Yeah, season 1 will kick off, and there will be guests in season 5. I'm already planning that out, who I'm going to have as a guest to guest host with me for certain episodes. So be on the lookout for those podcasts. That's it for right now, guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, aloha.